This is the Scenario Radio Show. Real talk with a playlist.
Okay, so that's Chris Brown with Yo on our Let Me Holler at You playlist. That's what we're
Let me
calling
holler
this
at you.
playlist.
Let me holler at you.
This is our Let Me Holler at You playlist. Today we are talking about street harassment. Before we go any further and start digging into some of the things that we want to do to shift the culture of street harassment and everything that goes around it, let's try to get to the heart of the facts about it. And the best way for us to get to the facts about it is how we always do here on the Scenario Radio Show, is by going with 5 fast facts. Today, obviously, it's about street harassment. So, fact number 1. Let's get to the definition. Street harassment is a form of harassment, primarily sexual harassment, that consists of unwanted sexual comments, provocative gestures, honking, wolf whistlings, indecent exposures, stalking, persistent sexual advances, and touching by strangers in public areas such as streets, shopping malls, and public transportation. So I think that's a good place to start because it allows us to, get
gas
an idea.
stations.
Yeah. Public areas. I think that covers the whole thing. The whole thing.
Because no place is off limits for some dudes, to be honest with you. It's like you don't even know how to read the room. It's like, bro, nobody not right now. But
yeah.
I think some of them know how to read the room. They just don't care, but that's another story.
Oh, yeah.
So 65% of 2,000 women surveyed said that they had experienced street harassment, according to a 2014 study commissioned by the organization Stop Street Harassment.
Over 50%.
Out of 2,000. That's just out of 2,000, man. That's just a small sample size.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So that kind of helps you frame it just right away. It's like, oh,
this is really common. Really common.
Yeah, for real. And then in the same study, 23% of the women have been sexually touched. You had 20% that have been followed, and also 9% have been forced to do something sexual. So that's out of that same 2,000 people they surveyed.
Yeah. When you think of that's 1 in 5. 1 in 5 women have been touched. Like just, their personal space has been invaded. Just to put that in another way, because I think when you say 20%, people think of it one way.
Yeah.
Like 1 in 5.
1 in 5.
Put 5 women in a room and one of them can tell you. And the truth is that number may very well be even higher.
Totally. Oh, yeah.
It starts young. This is a good example of this. In 2014, researchers from Cornell University and Hollaback conducted the largest international cross-cultural study on street harassment. The data suggests that the majority of females have their first street harassment experience during puberty.
So even the kids aren't off limits.
No.
It's crazy. When you think back, hearing it back in the day, you just didn't think anything about it because it was just so normal to hear, old people say stuff like this. Yeah.
And think about this. Think about how often it happens in school. You went to school. Think about how often it happens in school. So
popping that bra strap.
Yeah, and people don't think about it that way. Yeah, they don't think about it that way because they're like, well, it's just kids being kids. But the thing is, what they've done is they've set up this idea that this guy has autonomy over your body because it's not that big of a deal. If he so they're already setting it up. When you teach a kid, specifically a male kid, that it's okay that he can touch a woman in whatever he wants, and it's not really that big of a deal, then he's going to grow up with that. So, yeah.
Gosh. So, more than half of men polled believe that the more revealing the clothes a woman wears, the more likely it is that she will be harassed and assaulted. However, multiple studies show that women who seem passive or are in modest dress are actually more likely to experience sexual assault. Women who wear the burqa, hijab, or niqab actually experience higher rates of street harassment. Sheesh.
It's nuts. That's nuts.
Yeah.
Right? Now I have an idea about why that is. I don't want to get into it, but I want to ask somebody who hears a lot about this all the time. Maliyka, what is it based on your understanding that it seems that women who are more covered, especially in those instances, women in hijabs and things of that nature, why is it that they seem to experience more street harassment based on what your understandings are?
So as it happens, I am Muslim, and while I don't wear my hijab all the time, I've definitely been in those situations. It's this idea that they have a right to know. they want to see, or why are you covered? Let me see what you got going on under there. It's just how I did this sense of entitlement. And it's funny because I would have this debate with my mother growing up. She would talk about why you don't cover, and I'm just like, but I'm not a small person anyway. So what am I supposed to wear? A tent with sticks in it that they're not gonna, like it's gonna show. I'm gonna show certain things, and they still are gonna be disrespectful, because they want to see what's under it. What's under it that she got? I can't see. So this whole idea that if you're covered more, they're not gonna bother you. First of all, I should be able to walk outside if I wanted to, naked as the day I came into this world, without you feeling you had the right to sit there and touch me or to speak to me as if
I think sometimes women that seem to be more modest or insecure are easily more preyed upon because they are insecure and modest and smaller, maybe in personality. Men might feel like they can easily intimidate those type of women more often than, say, the ones that's clutching their purse and seem to be more assertive. So that's just my perspective on how someone that's more covered up or seems to be more intimidating can be more intimidated.
That's interesting.
that's
I don't even know
valid.
if I don't even know if I had ever thought about the
That
idea
way.
of of a woman being covered, that was necessarily her being more. I guess traditionally speaking, somebody would consider that modest, but I'm just thinking about it in terms of. I mean, I've known women in hijabs who were boisterous, loud, and everything else. They were,
My mother,
so
It
yeah.
doesn't change. It
that's
doesn't
my
change their
mother right
personality.
there.
Shout out to Mama Muhammad. Because you had said you had a question that you wanted to get
Yeah,
into.
because it actually tripped me out when you said that this is an international. Your thing being international, and you hear so many things about just different cultures viewing women different ways, and just like how hard is it to try to navigate, being able to give reassurance or assistance to somebody that may just have a different cultural landscape than what we do over here when you're dealing with, international cases, or maybe, any kind of counseling or helping out anyone dealing with an international issue. How different is that?
So internationally, we're not the ones who are necessarily spearheading that
Gotcha.
outreach. There are individuals over there in those
Oh,
respective
okay.
countries who are spearheading. They saw this and it was like, oh yes, we have this problem. Let's tackle this on our end. So actually, every year, in April, we have anti-street harassment, a week at different countries. We do posters,
Gotcha.
we do all type of things, really just educating the public, and letting, like, to your point, different countries, things look different. And that's not necessarily a right thing or a wrong thing, but we know that norms are different based on different societies and countries, et cetera, et cetera. So what may be considered harassment over here may not necessarily be harassment over there. So really allowing those individuals to address what harassment is, because we do know that it does happen. Patriarchy is a national, worldwide issue, and we know that harassment is born out of patriarchy, misogyny, all of those good things, or bad things, I should say. So that's what happens. Is we're not going over there and saying, "Oh, you need to do this, you need to do this." No,
I
these are
gotcha.
individuals in those different countries who have banded together to bring awareness to street harassment as how it looks in their country.
All right, we're going to delve into this a little bit more when we come back. In fact, what the place we're going to jump into when we come back is we're going to talk about the beginnings of a lot of it, and talk about how young it happens. And we'll hear from some women who will share their testimonies about how young the first time they remember being publicly harassed sexually. And unfortunately, I will say that some of the ages will surprise you when we come right back here on the Scenario Radio Show.
This is the Scenario Radio Show. Real talk with a playlist.
That's the